It's the 14th of February 2019. I'm David Griffin. I'm here at Ashover today and I'm talking to
Bernie Maher.
Well, Bernie, I have to say this is probably the most beautiful setting in which we've interviewed anyone thus far, and the fact that it's the middle of February and we're actually sitting outdoors is we can scarcely believe it, really.
Yeah, I think we picked a good day.
It's it's beautiful. Bernie, obviously you had a long career at Derbyshire, and principally that's what we're going to talk to you about.
Yeah.
You perhaps don't know, because most of you guys don't, you've got the 6th most catches of any wicket-keeper that ever played for Derbyshire. There you go, so you had no idea, did you? Which puts you fairly high up the list. You know, you're in company with people like Bob Taylor and Carl Cricken and George Dilks and whatever. But can I start by going back to the beginning, because you were born in Hillingdon in Middlesex.
Right. I was, yeah.
And so I'd be interested to know where your cricketing life began, because obviously it didn't begin at Derbyshire.
No, I mean, I think from the age of 5 I wanted to be a wicket-keeper. I asked my brother, I remember what position's that, and he said, that's a wicket-keeper. And I said, that's what I want to do. And I played playing first team cricket at 13, which is bad in a way because my batting suffered. I was batting.
Who were you playing for, Bernie?
I was playing for Hillingdon Cricket Club in Uxbridge. We played competitive cricket, 20 over cricket, and then Middlesex gave me 2 games. I played for Middlesex at Hornsey against Yorkshire, and you know, like any club cricketer, well, I mean, he's only 17, then 18, coming on 18. Any club cricketer knows that you know, there's a massive difference, and I had Steve Oldham and Alan Ramage bouncing me out. I mean, the ball was flying through here, no helmets then.
This was second 11.
Second 11 cricket, Middlesex seconds, and I remember being the first time I'd been to Lords. I'd actually been once before, but it was the first time I'd actually been at the gates playing, and then off we went to Hornsey in cars, and then I played another game at Vine Lane against the Combined Services, and I kept wicket then, and I was just amazed how the standard, but you know, no one talked to you. It was just like there was a couple of guys, almost as a sufferance. The Middlesex team had to play second team cricket. Roland Butcher was there. Nigel Ross was very kind to me. He was a keeper, and Wayne Daniel kept breaking his ring finger, so he was playing as a batsman. And you know, and then Middlesex signed Paul Downton. And so I thought, well, I'll go to university. So
can I just go back to where you said you'd always wanted to be a keeper? Had there been someone in particular that you'd admired, either local level or international cricketer?
No. Oh, well, Alan Knott was when I went to play. Alan Knott was my hero.
Yeah.
Had his gloves, and I met him at a training day at Lords. But overall, no. It's just I wanted to be a keeper. That's what I like. Yeah. I don't know why. It just, you know. I think one of the great Australian, Brian Tabor said, I think it was Brian Tabor said, wicket keepers are born, not made. So yeah, that was it. So I always wanted to be a keeper, and then I played all the age group stuff, Middlesex tours and stuff. And then when you get to 18, you're kind of like, well, what do I do now? You know, there's 8-9 million people in London, and that was it. So I had them two games for Middlesex. Then I went to Loughborough. The rest is sort of history from there.
So you played cricket at Loughborough?
Yeah.
And what were you studying while you were there, Bill?
I was doing accountancy economics, and all set to be an accountant. And the irony was, it was early season in my final year, and we played Derbyshire, and the game wasn't fit, and because it'd been a really wet pre-season, wicket, you know, it wasn't raining, but the wicket was wet. We shouldn't have played. And then Phil Russell said, look, and Tony Borrington captained. He said, look, we've not been out. We'd love to play a game. We're fed up with netting. Can you do? And I was captain of the Loughborough team, and I had a good game. And that was it. And Phil Russell was a brilliant scout. So, you know, he asked me a few questions, and I said, well, I was going to be an accountant, and then. So he had a chat with me, made a phone call or two, and then I went down to Derbyshire.
What year? Because you made your debut in '81. What year would that have been?
81.
That was '81, was it?
I played 3 second team games, and as no doubt on these talks you've been talking the difference between club cricket and second team cricket and first team cricket. and next thing I know, you're going to get the nod to play against Gloucester.
Because Bob, obviously 81, as many will remember, was the great summer when Derbyshire won a trophy, but also England won the Ashes, both of them's Ashes, and Bob was featured in the Test, wasn't he? So
he was.
What was it? You played some second 11 cricket, presumably, in the build-up to that, did you?
I think 3 games.
Right.
I played at Marsconsea against Yorkshire, and I played against Leicestershire at Loughborough Town Cricket Ground.
Yeah.
I think one other, that was it.
So who gave you the news you were making your debut? Because Barry Wood was captain.
Barry Wood, he kind of silenced. You might be playing. You might be playing, young man.
Was there anybody else that could have kept at that time?
There was
Mike Deakin there?
Mike Deakin was there, and for whatever reason, they sort of gave me they just said keep your head down, keep him well, and I went up training quite regularly and that with a guy called Rich Merriman, and we used to travel from Loughborough up there, train for a day, and watch the first team play and go in net, and that was it. So
how did you feel on the morning of your debut?
Very, very nervous. Very, very nervous. So staying at I was rooming with John Morris, who was playing second team, and it's just one of the things. Things just happen so quick. Very, very nervous. I hadn't even kept to Paul Newman, and so I remember Jeff Miller was first slip saying, "You're going to keep tapping them gloves. You're annoying me."
Really?
Yeah. Remember that? That's what he said to me. I looked at I don't like you.
Did it help that Gloucestershire batted first, and you had the chance to go out?
No, I'd rather have. Being honest, I'd like to have watched a bit first. Yeah.
But you didn't do bad. You got 5 catches on your debut in an innings, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
What was that like when the first one went in?
The first one, I sort of it hit me here, and I'd sort of joke with it because so nervous. And then after that, just relaxed.
Yeah.
And I took a one-hander to my right. I think it was their wicket-keeper. The rest is history. And then Phil Russell came back, of course, and to the bar in the evening. He was absolutely, as people said, who's this lad you've got? Of course, he's delighted because he's probably the best scout Derbyshire ever had.
Absolutely.
Fantastic, and he was delighted then, and
So what was the dressing room like then, in terms of the players and the characters? Because it was a very mixed side, wasn't it? There were these sort of gnarled, older cricketers like Wood and Steele and Taylor and Hendrick.
Well, I think it was Spot who hasn't played for England or South Africa or New Zealand.
Yeah.
Wright and Kirsten, Barry Wood, because he played for England, David Steele, went down Jeff Miller. Obviously, Paul Newman was someone that was going to be on the cusp of the England team, although it didn't happen. And Steve Oldham, stalwart. So Mike Hendrick. Yeah. Fantastic.
I think there were 8 people that played in the final that either were Test cricketers or, in Kim's case, went on to play Test cricket.
So. Kim was there. So phenomenal. And moving forward, me and John Morris, because we were Although we had a big second team signing that year, John and me were invited down we were in the dressing room when the winning run was hit, at Lord's in 1981.
We'll come to that in a minute, I suspect. So were you mindful that you were taking Bob's job in the short term at least?
Not really. I mean, I was just happy to, be given the opportunity, and it's a very, very keepings of you've got one person on the side that keeps, so there was never any chance of me saying, "Oh, I'm better than Bob," because he was a legend. So, but it was just fantastic. He was very good. He gave me some tips and preparation and taping my fingers up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was it was just it happened so quick. I'm playing club cricket and then university cricket, and then next year 2 or 3 second team games, I'm in the first team. Yeah. So and then
and who coaches wicket keepers? Because most clubs have got batting and bowling coaches, but did you have a coach or anyone who you say you looked up to? Not, and you obviously to Bob Taylor.
No, it's all done. You tend to in those days, you tend to. You speak to obviously the Wicket Keepers Society. You go off and I was great friends with Bruce French, and again another brilliant keeper. You kind of work things out. You watch other people try. So I was a great admirer of Jack Richards, I loved his attacking style of keeping, you know, and he's training and that. But you basically work it out yourself.
And what about your batting? Because I know on your debut you were number 11, but obviously you ended up opening the batting for Derbyshire, and as we'll come on to in due course, you had some quite successful seasons as a batsman. So, what was your batting just a side issue at that time, or you just not been identified?
No,
as a
it's
batsman?
open all the time. I mean, that's the thing in right away club cricket, and I was always up top 3. So it's one of them things, you know. It just happens that when you go right when you start playing county cricket, you unlearn everything you learn. As a club player, you've got no idea. You think you can play, you can't. It's
fascinating to know that the difference between
it's just mind blowing. You know, the pace, the speed, the accuracy, and how people set fields. So, you know, you can't just launch the ball over the top. They put men back, and you won't get any. You know, the bowl at your head. It's cat and mouse, and the biggest thing is courage. It's, you know, that's why you know, they're on about players that are 9, 10, 11. Well, it's your courage. It's getting hit and staying in line. It's not, you know, technique. You can be off the ball a little bit. You'll get out eventually, you know. But so it's. I know I was always batting up top 3, 4. You know.
We already alluded to the 81 final. Obviously, Derbyshire hadn't won a trophy for 45 years. Went to Lords. You didn't play in the game, but obviously Bob Taylor was playing. But you were there at
the training,
in the dressing room and everything. So what was that like for you as a young cricketer, being involved in your first season in a trophy-winning side?
Just mind-blowing. I think the first thing is the noise at Lords as people come. You can hear this sort of people chatting, amplified by 27,000. And the ground is a lot smaller. Although I've been on it and seen it, I've not played on it. I played on the nursery ground, but the ground is smaller than it looks. And then you've got the slope, which is quite pronounced. But it's just the people. It's a different world. And there's always a smell of polish when you go in there, and you have your own little place. You know, obviously I didn't know where I was going then. I went wherever me and John did, and Barry Wood said, look, you know, be part of it, but just stay out of the way a little bit, which we did.
Did that make it easier for you?
Yeah.
Because you could just soak it all up.
Crikey, fantastic. Yeah. And I remember cuddling David Steele when when the winning runs were hit, just phenomenal.
Did you know? Because I ask everyone who was either there or was at the on the pitch. We were just running about, had no idea really. Did you know that Derbyshire won?
Because Jeff Miller and Colin Tunnicliffe got in and they embraced.
But because you'd got an elevated view, because at ground level it was absolutely impossible. Derbyshire and Northants fans looking at each other who's won. Didn't actually know.
No, I knew straight away. They got in, and because I think the ball just missed the stumps. But it was phenomenal.
And you have a good night that night?
Well, I went back to there was a Westmoreland hotel, and I was going off abroad, so I went home at 2 in the morning then. But it was a great night, fantastic, and champagne in the dressing room. Viv Richards and Ian Botham came in, and I remember Jeff Miller sat there, and Botham as he's ripped his trousers off him. So he sat there in his jockstrap, just a fantastic time. Fantastic,
Well, you had a wonderful first season, clearly, but moving to 82-83, we've still got Bob. We know he's going to retire 84. There's a young chap by the name of Chris Marples from up the road at Chesterfield who's also doing the round. So what's your sort of state of mind? What are you doing in 82, 3 and 4?
Well, you basically, like I said, you unlearn everything you've learned. You keeping your practice, your fitness is a big thing. I was always quite fit, naturally fit, but I used to work hard. And then keeping wise, I was a natural keeper, so that got better. It was my batting I worked on, and I found what I did find hard was back from used to batting up at opening 1, 2 or 3, batting down at 6 and 7 was a different. I wasn't a natural striker of the ball, so I found that quite hard. But basically, you could tell with the level of keeping and playing elsewhere. I found, Chris Scott at Notts said you should be playing first team. You're the best second team keeper on the circuit. And I was his second name was White, the coach, and he said the same, and you know, I got a lot of confidence. And then you kind of like get, I was playing for the odd first team game, which was brilliant.
Yep.
And then Chris Marples and had a few people covering in the second team. But then you start getting a little bit staid. You know, when we came later on, you know, it was just, I found it was frustrating because Bob Taylor wasn't then picked for England, and I was stuck in the second team, and that's the time maybe I should have been asking to play a bit more, even one day. As Bob was never going to retire, but maybe I should have said, look, can I play the Sunday League and something like that, just to keep my eye in, you know. But it didn't happen.
Obviously, there'd also been a change of captaincy, and there'd been a few changes of personnel, because although the '81 side had won a trophy, it was almost as excuse me, as if it was put together to win that trophy, because Steele left, Barry Wood left, obviously fairly controversially in '83, came as a young captain at 22, and then there were new players coming in like Mortensen and Michael Holding, Devon Malcolm, John Morris, who you've already mentioned, and Bruce Roberts. So there's quite a change of personnel. But presumably you knew that when Bob retired there was going to be a huge gap to fill. Was the rivalry, obvious rivalry between you and Chris, or did you just get on
really,
and play your game?
Because it's a natural progression I was going to play. I mean, I just played. It was. But I mean, Chris, amazingly talented keeper and, you know, player. I knew, you know, I was going to have to play really, really well to compete against him. But then, you know, they say that I enjoyed every minute of cricket, but I didn't enjoy 1985. You know, I remember I didn't get many runs at the start of the season, and then I played at Worcester, which has always been a strange ground for me, ups and downs. And I'll tell you why in a bit. But I played at Worcester. I went on the phone to my dad because my mum had a stroke and she'd gone in for some checks, and my dad said, she's dying of cancer, mate. She got, and literally a minute later, I'm on the bell's gone. I'm on the pitch at Worcester, and they said they're going to do another scan 3 weeks later and see, you know, what happens. So of course I had to play with that, and then at the end of the season, my dad died. So it was annus horribilis for me. I just hated 1985, you know. The only thing a couple of things I was cross about Derbyshire. No one put their arm around me and said, look mate, you know, have a couple of games off and come back wherever, Leicester. I've just called in. We had a couple of days off, called in, and I was heading down to London to see my mother, and then just said, you know, we're giving you a rest. That's what Kim said. And I said, well, when am I playing back? He said, oh, so I know. He said, no. I said, you're not giving me a rest, you're dropping me. So I just walked out. And that's the one thing. If someone had said, you know, put their arm around me, as I would do to anyone in that situation, but that didn't happen. So it's a really tough game. And then my dad died at the end of the year. So you either sink, or you go. I went off to New Zealand, back over, because I was in the airplane and went back over to New Zealand, and basically just said, just sort of said, right, well, you're either going to sink here, mate. You're going to get sorted out, get fit again, and start playing, and that's what I did. And
what we know is that in the very best of Bernie Maher was to come. So I think what we'll do is just leave it there, because it's quite a nice introduction to your cricketing career.
Okay.
And we'll pick it up when you start to open the batting, I suspect. Right. Thanks for now, Bernie.
Pleasure.